Hello everyone, this is Joe from Camera Lessons Online. I know that I have been gone for a while. I took some time away from YouTube in order to focus on creating a brand new product for the business. More announcements on that to come, but it is now kind of a little bit in autopilot, getting ready to launch, and so I'm back. And I want to spend a couple videos talking about editing, something I don't talk about all that much in my tutorials and in my classes and here, but I want to spend a little bit of time on it. And today I want to talk about one particular strategy for taking an image that doesn't really speak to you, that you don't love, and finding a way to breathe new life into it and using it to create something exciting. Before we jump into that, of course, everything we do here is brought to you by Camera Lessons Online. Visit us on the website. We have 3 books. The most recent is 7 Photos to Make You a Better Photographer, which is 7 challenges to heighten your skill set. That's one of our 3. And of course, we also have a 4-hour Introduction to Photography online class, as well as some free downloads and an Introduction to Photography PDF, a bunch of stuff. I hope that you check it out. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about these 2 images here, and we're going to be talking about ways of elevating these, particularly black and white conversion. Now, black and white conversion is something we've been able to do for a very, very long time, so it's nothing new. But I think we forget about it, and we forget about it quite a bit, and forget that it can be a way of breathing new life into an image. So this is an image that I don't love. I don't hate it. There's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't really speak to me. And there's some easy to clean up issues, like there's some spots of dust on the sensor, my horizon line is not straight. Those are easy to fix. But more than that, I just don't love the image. It's not really dramatic. There's nothing that's really pulling focus in the center. It doesn't give me a sense of scale. And so while this is a very cool place, this was at the sand dunes here in Colorado where I live, I don't want to pursue this image. But before discarding it and never looking at it again, let's take a moment and really look at what it would be like as a black and white. And just immediately doing a basic black and white conversion, it becomes more interesting. Now remember, this is an image that has some nice white in the sky and some dark areas here on the ground, and so it lends itself to contrast. Any image that lends itself to contrast will do a pretty reasonable black and white conversion, but it can get even better than that. There are 2 major things that you can do with a black and white image that you cannot do with a color image. The first is going to be just overall contrast enhancement. The second is bringing in and out individual colors. Now, of course, we can take images, and people have made them partial black and whites and removed color for a long time, but being able to really push a color in and out as a standard thing that we do in editing is just not something you can do in color. But we've done it forever with black and white. Of course, with film, we were taking black and white negatives, and we were shooting with red filters or blue filters in order to remove or enhance those individual colors as we wanted to. So now we can do that here. So let's take the blue in the sky to start with. So if I was to bring that more in, it lightens it, right? If I take it out, then of course there's nothing remaining and it gets darker. I think that actually is pretty cool right there, taking it out. We're going to take the yellow that's inside of this and maybe see if that does anything. And right in this area, it lightens that up, which I think is pretty nice. And I don't think a lot of the other colors are going to do all that much because there's not a lot of greens inside of this. There's a little bit of red, so let's bring that in. And now I've added some interesting contrast. And just right now, before and after, I already think this is more interesting. And so let's come over here, and the other thing that we can do is we can really push our contrast with black and white images. So let's push our contrast a little bit there. And if I brighten this, I'll brighten that white area in the sky effectively and leave some of the other areas dark if I've pushed my contrast and if I've taken out some of the colors that I want. And lastly, I'm going to add a vignette, which I'll do that with color images as well, but it lends itself quite effectively to high contrast black and white. And there, I think I've created something that I'm much happier with than the original. The original didn't really speak to me. I wouldn't have pursued it or used the image for anything. And this particular version of it, I am interested in, and I would do something with this. I might print it and put it on my wall. I would use it in one of my classes. And so just that one set of skills gives me something interesting to play with. Now here's another image. Shot this at the Denver Zoo, and we see the fence inside of it. We see the background. I just don't love the image. But we do have this interesting shadow going across the subject's face. So I'm going to first pop in the exact same edits from before, and already I think it's noticeably better. In particular, sometimes you'll do a black and white conversion, and you'll be able to, if it'll buffer in here, actually be able to see some textures in detail better than you really would at least notice in the original. Of course, it is still there. Now, I might do a different set of color edits here because there's more yellows and oranges, of course, in this, so I have a little bit more to play with, but I would want to leave that a little bit brighter there, I think. And the greens are something that I might play with because there's definitely green inside of the image, and I think I'd want to leave that a little bit brighter. In fact, I might make it a little bit starker. And if I was to try and brighten the image, but maybe take my shadows and make them a little bit darker, you can create something that's got some interest. Now, changing highlights and shadows and exposure we've done with images forever. The key thing is that you can push contrast higher with a black and white image than you can with a color. And so now I've taken two images and I think I've created versions of them that are far more interesting. So just a little tip for you, short and sweet this week. Something that I do when I'm taking a look at an image that is good but not great and lets me play with it and see if it does hold some hidden gems. So anyway, that's all that I've got to say for you this week. I hope that everybody is doing well and taking some fantastic pictures, and I'll see you next time.